Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm April Martinez.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
Good morning, Belize. It is Monday. And Paul, why don't we just jump right into our Eye on the News for this Monday morning?
Let's do that.
All right, so for this Monday morning, we bring you the Eye on the News.
Yeah, and so April, good morning once again.
Good
It's
morning.
Monday morning. It's a start to a new week. It's a beautiful Monday morning at that in terms of the weather outside. I think we're still feeling some of that chill in the air that we've been feeling all of last week.
Indeed.
Nonetheless, we start this morning's conversation on a very somber note. With an incident that has left the nation speechless and that has left the nation mourning.
Yeah.
This is, of course, I'm speaking about the fatal road traffic accident that took place over the weekend this is on Saturday night, in the Cayo district, specifically San Ignacio, just outside of San Ignacio, which claimed the life of 10 individuals. When you look at the spread in terms of age range, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the oldest person, based on the information we've been able to gather, is 31 years old.
Yeah.
That's 2 years younger than I am,
my
and
age.
that's your age.
My
And
age.
and if I consider myself to be young, and I certainly consider you to be young, then it speaks to the great loss that we have suffered. But more so, the first number I mentioned, 10. 10 losses, I think, is unheard of in this nation's history when we think about one traffic incident occurring. Yesterday, we were on the scene of the incident. We immediately deployed, and what you're seeing there on your screen is one of the vehicles that was involved in the road traffic accident. So some of the details that we've learned as of yesterday is that the incident happened somewhere around miles 71 and 72.
It's around Contiki.
Right,
log
between
cabins.
Contiki
Yeah.
and that log cabin area. Anyone that would frequent that area would definitely be familiar
Yes.
with that area. So the SUV, so you're seeing the motorcycle there, and then there you're seeing the Toyota Corolla. So the SUV that you saw earlier was going from San Ignacio towards Benque.
Okay.
And then the Toyota Corolla was coming back from a trip to Melchor when they had this head-on collision early in the evening going into the nighttime, right? So the motorbike, which we also saw in one of the shots, was traveling close behind the SUV, and it slammed into the SUV when the two vehicles crashed. So the Corolla was being driven by Radwell Parham.
Yes.
He left home with his sister-in-law to go check for some vehicle parts in Melchor. Now, it's not clear yet how her co-workers, because the information we've gathered is that these individuals that were packed up in the Corolla were her co-workers. My understanding is from a call center.
Okay.
Right? It's not clear how they ended up going along with them on the trip, or more so how they ended up in the Toyota Corolla. But they all went across the border to shop for Christmas stuff. Different families, their account is that their relative traveled across the border to shop for Christmas, right? And Mr. Parham and his sister-in-law, they went over to buy vehicle parts. And just to be clear, the Corolla was not a taxi. No. That was one of the things that people were saying, that it was a taxi. It bore private license plates according to family and friends. So when the collision occurred, it led to basically an explosion.
Yes.
And that explosion engulfed the Toyota Corolla in flames, leading to the death of all 9 individuals within that Corolla, and then the motorcycle driver,
yes, right,
which made a 10th victim in this case. And so there you're seeing Mr. Parham. He was the one driving the vehicle, and so I mean, it's one of those things you just have to take a sigh and ask so many questions that you don't want to ask the questions. But I know that it requires an investigation.
Yes.
Nonetheless, yesterday while on the ground, we heard from several people by way of interviews, and one person that we did hear from was the mayor of the Twin Towns, Santa Elena, San Ignacio, and that's Mayor Earl Trapp, and we want to bring you some of his remarks in the aftermath of this incident.
Well, first of all, I would like to extend on behalf of San Ignacio and San Antonio Council, extend my profound, sincere condolences to the families that were affected in this tragic accident last night. It is heartbreaking. It is heart-wrenching to have seen such a horrific accident as such last night that claimed the lives of at least 10 people. The worst I have ever seen here in Belize. This municipality mourns the death of these 10 people, and we are hurted, and we are very much sorry that it happened. I think it's high time that we as leaders begin to take these things very seriously and implement the laws. Because by implementing the laws, 1 or 2 people will get mad at you, but you know what? In the end, we end up saving lives.
Yeah, and so there you had Mayor Trapp not only offering his condolences, but also sharing from his perspective what needs to be done. Greater enforcement, more stricter actions on patrols and law enforcement part. He says even if it makes you look like the bad guy or the most unpopular person as law enforcement or as traffic officers to take action. But before we play the second bite from actually a relative, I want to get your thoughts on this, April.
I've been listening to this story since I woke up, and I think that I can safely say on behalf of all of us here in Channel 5, we send our deepest condolences to all of the families that have been affected by this tragedy. I listened to Mayor Trapp's remarks, and of course there have been other remarks by public leaders and so forth. But I think that Paul, we have this culture of we like things to be loose and laid back when it comes to certain laws. As Belizeans, we like it because we want to be able to get away with certain things.
Yeah, it facilitates
we are comfortable in this this lawless way when it comes to our traffic, right? So yes, while I agree that you need to crack down on certain things, you have to have certain laws enforced. I get all of that, but if we're not the ones following the law, how can we ever get something to flow in the right direction? And I say this because until something like this happens to you, you don't take it seriously. And it shouldn't get to this point, right? 9 people in a Corolla is against the law. And I'm not victim blaming at all, please,
Correct.
please.
Yeah, I get you, April.
It's one of those things where we like things a certain way because it makes our life, quote unquote, easier until these things happen. I am an advocate, Pa, and people don't like it when I say this, but I am an advocate for charging for driver school. Yes, people can't afford it, then those people need to be able to practice certain abiding rules. I am here sitting and I'm listening. There was a preschooler in this accident. We were talking about the ages from 31. That was her child in this accident. And I think that we mourn until the next accident comes and then we move on. But we're not taking these, as citizens, we're not taking this seriously enough. And I can sit here and I can go on and on and on about all of the laws that are not enforced, but we don't practice it. You know, we don't. I had to say that the other day I was driving and I very much thanked the police officer and the traffic officer. I had my phone in my hand, right? And the officer looked at me and said, "Miss, I'm letting you off with a warning, but you can't have that." Like already telling me this is the law, I need to abide by it, and I quickly put it away, right? But that's what we need more of. If we're not following the rules, if we're not following the laws, we're going to continue having these accidents.
April, I appreciate
I'm
your
sorry,
remarks.
I know it sounds like I'm...
No, you've said some things in these comments that are hard to say, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a discussion that perhaps some people will say the incident is a bit too fresh to have. However, now that the spotlight is on this, it's an important time to have these discussions, so I'm glad you raised those points. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to play a second, a portion of a second interview, this one from a family member of one of the victims.
Well, my name is Mitzi Iglesias, and I am Jahim's sister. He's my little brother. And he was coming from Melcher, coming back home because he and his co-workers decided to go Christmas shopping. And last night I saw the live, and I knew my brother was coming from there. And I was calling, messaging him, and he didn't answer. And I saw the live ended, and I was still, wondering, where's my brother? And when I saw they post up the 2 girls that passed away, I knew that he was with them. And I was wondering, where's my brother? And I went to the hospital, and he was not there. I went to the police station, and they told me that they need to identify one more male. And I gave them the description of my brother, and unfortunately it was Jahim. He had on a white shirt and a black pants.
So you were trying to call him and you were getting no response on his phone?
And he's not like that. Whenever I will message him, even if he doesn't have data, he will try to find it, Wi-Fi or data, and he will message me like, I'm coming home. And last night I didn't get that. We have our daily chats. He was a jokester. So, for the family, this is very devastating. Jahim, he is a scout too. He's a venture. And for the community, this was a real shock.
How old was he?
He was 19.
And so that's the sister of a relative of Jahim. 19 years old. Again, like I said, the range, the victims, the age
Very
range,
young.
very young.
Very
So
young.
a lot in their late teens or early 20s, right? Of course, he was employed. So yesterday we had Marian Ali and Rick Romero. They immediately sprung into action and they got on the ground to bring these interviews. And of course, this and other interviews, not only will we have more updates in our news at noon, News 5 at noon, which is our news segment within our programs, but we'll also have more on this as well in our newscast tonight, April. This brings to the fore this very important conversation, especially when we think about the fact that last week alone we reported on the deaths actually of several other young persons. I think, of course, Michael Contreras, a 13-year-old in Unitedville. I think about the young 18-year-old Alex Benton from San Pedro, who was in that unfortunate accident with his basketball team on the Philip Golson Highway. I think about the Coast Guard officer, Gianna Vanegas, who apparently, according to reports, lost control of her motorcycle, ended up in an induced coma, and now she too has passed away. It's a lot to bear, and I think the easiest thing for people to do is to point fingers and to say, hey, we need more highway upgrades, we need more investments in our roadways. And I like the angle you've taken. To a degree, I understand the complaints where the highways are concerned. When you look at certain parts of the George Price Highway from Belmopan to Belize City, you could see signs of a need for upgrade, especially along shoulders. Sometimes you have those huge drop-offs.
The particular highway where this
this was recently. This is being upgraded at this point in time.
It's not well lit. You know, if you travel that highway at night, it is quite dangerous.
It is dark,
and it's very dark. It's curvy and so forth. So it
requires a great deal of caution.
Yes,
right?
And from us, the citizens, the persons that are in the vehicle.
It does need those.
Safely.
It does need some. Well, it's being upgraded, right?
Now.
So it does need to be completed. Lighting, I think, is a huge concern, and perhaps this brings to the fore the need to expedite that process where lighting of the street is concerned, and not only in this area, but there are other parts of the highways that need it. But at the end of the day, you could put all of this in place, and if we don't take responsibility for our own actions, then that's an issue as well. And I know conversations has been had about thinking about the highways that has the medians in between them to prevent accidents as well. And perhaps that's a consideration that we really need to begin to take seriously, because truth be told, when we drive on these highways, especially if you drive above the speed limit, it's almost like you're playing a game of how close you could be to the middle of the road, but how far you could be from the edge, and you have to maintain that. And if you don't drive within a certain speed limit on our highways, you could either find yourself veering off too much out of your lane into the middle and into somebody's lane, or too much off the side of the highway, and depending on the speed you're going, you could lose control. So
I think vehicle inspections are also something that we should consider, and this is where I know persons are talking about how the government can assist and things that need to be enforced. Persons that are driving without proper lights on their vehicles, persons that are driving with perhaps, you're on the highway and your vehicle is supposed to be able to go to a particular speed limit, right? You know, if your vehicle can only go 35 miles an hour, your vehicle should not be on the highway. You know, there's certain things that are, if you want your government and so forth, from the traffic department and so forth, that can assist you in these types of things. There are certain things that the government should do on their part, and then there are certain things that us as citizens need to take responsibility on our part. But with that said, like I mentioned before, we just want to extend our condolences to all of the families that are grieving, and we hope that for the remainder of the year we don't have to continue to report on these tragic accidents. But as Paul mentioned, certainly these stories and more, you can catch them in our news at noon and at our newscast at 6 p.m. and live here on Channel 5 on Facebook and on YouTube. That does it for Eye on the News. Moving on with our show as best as we possibly can. We are going to make it a good Monday for you all this morning. And so let's get some motivation from the folks at the National Meteorological Service of Belize with a weather update for today.
Good morning. A gradual increase in moisture over the area is expected to start today. The 24-hour forecast: skies will become cloudy at times. Showers or areas of light rain will be scattered around the country today, with a few more expected over southern areas. High temperatures will reach around 83 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 85 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 71 degrees Fahrenheit in the mountains. Low temperatures for tonight will reach around 73 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 66 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 62 degrees Fahrenheit in the hills. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to northeast at 5 to 15 knots, and sea conditions will be moderate. And then low tides occur at 10:40 this morning and then at 11:32 tonight. High tides at 4:53 this evening and then at 5:36 tomorrow morning. The moon will rise at 12:47 this afternoon and then set at 1:17 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:12 this morning and then sunset at 5:18 this evening. The extended forecast: skies will be sunny with cloudy spells and isolated showers developing for Tuesday, and then cloudy at times with a few showers and isolated thunderstorms developing mostly over the south and some coastal areas on Tuesday night. The sargassum update: impacts, if any, from sargassum will continue to be minimal as observations show little to no sargassum over our area. And this has been this morning's weather report from the National Meteorological Service.
All right, I want to say thank you to the folks at the Nat Meteorological Service for that weather update. We're going to move on into some more motivation to brighten up your Monday. We have here with us another edition of Jingle Tales.
Welcome back, everybody, to Jingle Tales. This week, we'll be reading A Christmas Carol with the themes of blessings, generosity. Chapter 1, Marley's Ghost. Marley was dead. To begin with, there is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole residuary legatee, his sole friend and sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event, but that he was an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral, and solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point that I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I am going to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night in an easterly wind upon his own ramparts than there would be in any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning out after dark in a breezy spot. Say St. Paul's churchyard, for instance, literally to astonish his son's weak mind. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood, years afterwards, above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge and sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted as hand at the grindstone, Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from no steel had ever struck out generous fire. Secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red and his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frost rime was on his head and his eyebrows and his wiry chin. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He iced his office in the dog days and didn't thaw it 1 degree at Christmas. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm. No wintry weather could chill him. No wind that blew was bitter than he. No falling snow was more intent upon its purpose. No pelting rain less open to entry. Foul weather didn't know where to have him. The heaviest rain and snow and hail and sleet could boast of the advantage over him in only one respect. They often came down handsomely, and Scrooge never did. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say, with gladsome looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in his life inquired the way to such and such a place of Scrooge. But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked, to edge his way along the crowded paths of life, warning all humanity, sympathy to keep its distance, was the knowing one called nuts to Scrooge. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, foggy withal, and he could hear the people in the court outside go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts, stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. It had not been light all day, and candles were flaring in the windows of the neighboring offices, like ruddy smears upon a palpable brown ear. The fog came pouring in, and every chink and every keyhole was so dense without that although the court was of its narrowest, the houses opposite were mere phantoms. To see the dingy cloud come drooping down and obscuring everything, one might have thought that nature lived hard by and was brewing on a large scale. "Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!" cried a cheerful voice. It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew, who came upon him so quickly that this was the first imitation he had of his approach. "Bah!" said Scrooge. "Humbug!" He had so heated himself with rapid walking in the fog and frost, that this nephew of Scrooge, that he was all in glow. His face was ruddy and handsome, his eyes sparkled, and his breath smoked again. "Christmas a humbug, Uncle?" said Scrooge's nephew. You don't mean that, I'm sure. I do, said Scrooge. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough. Come then, returned the nephew gaily. What right have you to be dismissal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough. Scrooge, have no better answer, ready on the spur of the moment, said bah again, and followed it up with humbug. Don't be cross, uncle, said the nephew. What else can I be? Returned the uncle. When I live in such a world of fools as this, Merry Christmas, out upon Christmas, what Christmas time to you? But a time for paying bills without money, a time to finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer, a time for balancing your books, having every item. If I could work my will, said Scrooge indignantly, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should. So, Mr. Scrooge clearly doesn't like Christmas. He has his reasons. So, we can stay tuned to Jingle Tales and you'll find out more tomorrow. Thank you.
I want to say a big thank you to Collins Publishing and the Book Center for today's Jingle Tales. We're moving on with our show lineup for this morning. We have a jam-packed Monday for you all, and in our first conversation, we have some exciting news coming out from the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform.
And then our second segment, we'll be learning how the passing of the Belize Disability Act marks a significant milestone in ensuring the rights and dignity of people with disabilities in Belize.
And in our third segment, we will be talking to delegates who traveled to Venezuela and brought back a new economic vision for Belize.
And in our last segment, we'll be hearing about the upcoming fundraiser hosted by the Queen of the Bay to give back to her community.
All right, before we get into all of that and more, we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have with us some exciting news from the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm the coordinator of the Benga House of Culture niche. Before the Belize Bank online service, I had to travel to San Ignacio because we don't have a Belize Bank branch in our community. Now with the service, I can conduct my transactions at the office, at the comfort of my home, just anywhere in the world. It has made my life much easier. I would recommend the Belize Bank digital services to everyone and anyone. It gives you back your time, it's highly reliable, it's available 24/7, and it just makes your life easier.
Christmas time, a Channel 5 bringing joy to Belize. From the news desk to the great outdoors, we've been working to give you more. From morning shows to breaking news, serving the truth is what we choose. Oh, Channel 5, I'm on your side. Through every storm, we're your guide. With laugh, debates, and moments true, we share Belize in life with you. So raise your voices, Christmas cheer. We've got big plans for the coming year. Together we thrive, here's to Channel
I'm connected. Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected.
Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect. With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added on for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix add-on for only $28.13 more. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
Belize, get ready. In Your Kitchen, Belize Edition is bringing you simple, healthy, delicious meals made just for you. Join Chef Ainsley and our team of nutritionists as they show you how to turn local favorites into nutritious, tasty dishes. Plus, discover the amazing health benefits of everyday foods right from your kitchen. Join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on Channel 5 for healthier cooking that's easy and fun. Brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, with support from Taiwan ICDF, making healthy cooking a Belizean tradition.
This Christmas, get into the joy with Uno Fuels. Imagine winning a shiny motorcycle, a brand new 50-inch TV, or grocery coupons to make your holiday shopping easier. The surprises keep coming. All you have to do is visit Uno, and for every $25 on fuel, you'll get a coupon. Fill out and participate. Get a coupon for each quart of Uno lubricants or 2 for a gallon. Visit your nearest Uno gas station today. Fill your tank and drive into Christmas cheer with Uno. Uno, a brand committed with the future.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. Joining us for our first conversation, we have with us the Honorable Henry Charles Usher, and he is the Minister of Public Services and Constitutional and Political Reform. Good morning.
Morning, Miss April. Morning, Paul. And certainly good morning to all your viewers.
And good morning to
of the season.
Thank you very much. Same to you. And we have with him Miss Michelle Longsworth, and she's the Director General at the Belize Tax Service.
Good morning.
Morning. Now, I hear that you have some exciting news to tell us this morning and our viewers as well. And based on the different parts of the government that they're representing, I am more than excited to hear about this news.
And I'll tell you something, April. I've never been more excited to see somebody from the tax service. Usually when you see tax service people are like, when me tax them,
kind of hide a little bit.
that income tax and computer or whatever. I'm just kidding. But, good
we're
morning
gonna,
to
good morning, and we're opening the floor for you all to share with our viewers this morning.
Yes.
Go ahead, DG.
Okay, so thank you for being here. Season greetings to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and not to talk about where we want to collect taxes. It's about giving back. It's a season of giving, and it's about giving back. But I would like to highlight the aspect of the entire reform initiatives that the Belize Tax Service has taken on, and how by embracing technology, the Belize Tax Service has leveraged data, or the whole aspect of digital transformation, not only to simplify our processes, but now using data analytics, we are now able to drive impactful policy decisions that will directly benefit our taxpayers, directly benefit the citizens of Belize. And I think that is why we're here today. It's all about giving back. So we are now announcing that we will have GST tax-free days in December. This coming weekend, which is the 14th and 15th, Saturday and Sunday. Next weekend, which is the 21st and the 22nd. Weekends again, all high spending. This is a high spending month. These days will be GST free, and I can see your big smile, and I'm sure our viewers are all smiling and saying, what is this all about? So based on our data analytics and looking at the economic trends, we were able to properly advise to say this is an initiative that government can undertake between government, bringing government and its citizens closer. So the GST tax-free days will see or taxpayers going into stores purchasing tax-free for those days, 12.5% tax-free. So that will be deducted from your spending. It is important to know that for the business side, it's going to be simple, simplified. They don't have to reprogram their registers because most of them use this POS system. There will be no need to reprogram their system. They will just offer the 12.5% as a discount line. Meaning that when you as a taxpayer go in now we're empowering our taxpayers. All year round, we as the tax administration, we always advise people, ask for your receipt. Look at your receipt. This is something that we run all the time, ads that we run on the TV. Ask for your receipt. No, I'm sure.
Yes,
we will ask for our receipt.
Looking at that receipt. Because even though a lot of persons don't realize that even if you are not working, every time you go to the store, you're paying tax.
Exactly.
So you are contributing to the the economic growth of Belize.
It's actually it's right there on your receipt. You'll see where the items there you add them, and then right there it shows you how much you're taxed. Let me just say right off the bat that this is big news.
Awesome. Of course
this really is in the spirit of giving back, because I'm thinking that when I go to the store this weekend and next weekend, automatically I get a discount, right? Without even thinking about it, every store has to give me a discount according to this, according to what you've just announced just now. So let's talk a bit about the stores that are included, just for clarity's sake, and how is it that we are able to give this discount and monitor that it is being done?
Okay, so all stores, everywhere you go, from the mom and pop that charges GST to courts,
the big commercial,
the big retails, everywhere. It's across the board, entire country of Belize. Whenever you go into the store and you're purchasing cash base, all right? Because I will go through what are not included, because there are some things that are not included. So every time you go to purchase anything, and it's a standard rated item that attracts GST, that will be reducted. Okay? So, as you rightly said, your receipt will show what your GST is. That amount will be deducted, so you will pay that less that amount on it. So I'm sure, I know now people will be looking at their receipts to make sure that they don't pay that 12.5%. So that is important. I just want to make sure I cover everything. So the following goods are not eligible. Goods that are imported. So at importation, all importers will still have to pay their GST. Okay?
No, imported goods at retail are included.
Yes.
It's at the
port of entry. Right? Just at the point of entry. Goods on consignment or others sold for wholesale purposes, those are not included. The supply of goods on credit or credit installment or hire purchase, those are not included. The supply of motor vehicles, gasoline, LPG, diesel, guns, ammunition, cigarettes, alcoholic beverages, alcoholic beverages, those are not included. In short, it's local, retail, immediate, and final sales. Sales that you will pay for and take home with you.
So they're mostly grocery and produce items that are going to be excluded from this GST for these 2 weekends.
No, it's all retail
items
except those that are listed. And if I can just get into some of the policy aspect of it, I think it's important to understand that this is a targeted initiative because it's we're always talking about cost of living. We're talking about the effects of inflation. We know that inflation is something that we import, just like how we import goods, we import inflation. And this government has taken the initiative to have targeted relief efforts for the consumers, for Belizean citizens. You saw the Prime Minister announce at the State of the Nation address, he announced the increase on the threshold in the income tax. He announced that the mortgages of $100,000 and less, there would be no stamp duty on those. Those are targeted relief efforts to combat the cost of living. This is another targeted initiative. Why? Because most of the persons who are, in different brackets, they have already bought their goods. They have their freights coming in. They have everything. They bought it on Amazon, whatever it is. This won't be covered by that. What this will cover are those Belizeans getting paid this week, as you said, April, because this week is payday week. That will be able to go to the stores this weekend and have a discount. We're looking at, and this discount is important to understand that this 12.5% relief is in addition to whatever other discount the stores are offering. So if the store is already offering a 10% discount, this is a 12.5% on top of that. So you're looking at a 22.5% discount this weekend. And from the data that the tax services department has, normally on a regular weekend, the tax collected in GST is around 1.5 to 2 million. Around this time of year, Christmas time, demand is higher. It's more closer to 2.5 million. So you're looking at $5 million between the 2 weekends that government or the tax department really is putting into the pockets of the Belizean citizens for them to have that relief.
So then are stores prepared to process these non-GST prices already?
And as I said, it's a simple process, meaning that they don't have to change anything within their programmable system. All they need to do is add on the 12.5% discount, similar to how they would offer a discount of a 10%. Like when you go to Brody's on a weekend and Brody says they are offering that 10% discount, it is there. So you see that line that offers. So it's the same way businesses will add on the 12%.
It will be at 10% and the 12.5%.
Exactly.
So then what would be the estimated loss of revenue for GOB then?
So that's what I just said. So it would be about 2.5 million each weekend that would have been collected in GST that government is putting back into the pockets of the Belizean citizen, the Belizean consumer. So it's about $5 million between the 2 weekends.
Yeah, you could look at it as a loss. You could look at it as an investment.
Yes.
Well, to me, it's not a loss because it's putting monies back into the pockets of Belizeans. It's improving their purchasing power, and they will be out there doing their shopping anyway.
Yeah, so but wouldn't that affect the budget?
Well, what we're looking at is that increase in spending will also increase the revenue collection going forward. So I think that's important to understand as well. But this is really, as I said, a targeted initiative for the consumers to provide some relief when it comes to the cost of living.
This is essentially a nationwide discount declared by GOB, if you want to put it like that. The same way how this one store might say we have 10%, that store might say we have 20%. Well, GOB is saying we got 12.5% discount across the board nationwide,
and except for those exceptions that the Director General mentioned just now. You know, and I think that's also a good policy initiative, a responsible determination that we're not going to include alcoholic beverages. You know, this time of year we have a proliferation of alcoholic beverages, and we don't want to increase that supply in the economy or in the consumers' households. So it's important to understand that we took those into into consideration as well, the responsibility aspect of it. Cigarettes are not included. You know, so goods on consignment, goods, wholesale goods, which the regular Belizean consumers would not be purchasing anyway. Again, it's about making sure that those that need the benefit are getting the benefit.
Ms. Dongsworth, I just want to ensure that you get everything out of the way. So if there anything else you want to add, or just so we're clear on all that we have.
So specifically for businesses, because the businesses want to know, they will still have to file their GST returns come January 15. All that they will need to do, and we will be sending out all these guidance, because this is a guidance note that will be running on the airwaves. We'll also be sending out via our news groups, etc. They will have to file, but they will the same GST, because remember, when they bought these goods, they paid GST for it, and GST is an offsetting, so they would have offset what they paid by what they are collecting. No, they won't be collecting anything because it's a tax-free day. So they will then now include that on line 110 on their GST forms to say this is the GST we paid. So the businesses will still be refunded
get back
that GST. So it's for the consumer will be getting their 12.5%, but the GST spent by the business, they will be able to still claim back the GST.
So how will they claim that back? It's like
on the form that they fill out, there's a line.
There will be a refund directed to them?
Well, it depends on how it's offsetted, right? Because then there may be other stuff like that they purchased that paid GST that they would not get back. But once it's there, on that line, that's where we're saying that the specific line 110, they know because they file every month, so they know the line that I'm speaking about. They will include their their purchasing or what the GST, that they paid on purchasing on those products on that line when they file January 15th.
So there is no reason then for them to
withhold.
Exactly. We want to ensure that the businesses are compliant also. We are also incentivizing the businesses because we don't want them to we don't want it to be challenging for you, the consumer, when you go in, that the businesses don't want to do it. So we're also ensuring that they're being incentivized to know that they don't have to worry. The GST that they paid, they will also be able to get that back also.
And at the end of the day, let's be clear about something. GST that is paid when purchasing a product does not go to the store owners.
No.
They go to the government.
Yes.
So whatever GST as a consumer I pay on top of the price of the product that the shopkeeper puts there, that GST goes to the government.
So
that's not something that they make in their profits.
No. So they shouldn't be raising the prices
to make back for that 12.5%.
Because you're not losing anything.
Price gouging.
So remember, whenever these retailers, they act as agents for the tax department in collecting this GST. So now we're telling them, you don't have to charge a GST, but you still have to file to say how much GST would have been paid so that the tax department knows exactly what their agent was doing.
Yeah. So how would you all be monitoring this then? Because I mean, we have seen price gouging become such a problem in the country for the past few years. So with this new couple weekends of tax-free,
well, there are I mean, as the Director General said, it's important that all consumers check their receipts to make sure that they are getting this benefit. But I think in terms of your specific question, we've seen other initiatives that the government has taken on. We have the department dealing with looking at the prices of goods, looking at the controlled goods, looking at the regulated goods, making sure that those are not increase in price where they should not be. But really, it's also looking at how we can provide relief from the supply side. Because a lot of the goods that we import, they're expensive.
Yes.
They're not inflation. Over in where we import from, the United States, other places, it's real. And we import that as well. So we have to be able to look at it from the supply side to make sure our government does these types of initiatives to provide the relief that they can provide for the consumers. And I think that is what the most important part of this type of initiative is.
Ms. Longsworth, turkey and ham, then they involve in all of this conversation as well?
Of course. So for the entire month of December, not only these GST tax-free days, from today you go out and you buy your imported turkey and your imported ham, your spiral honey baked ham. You know how Belizeans they want to buy that.
Very well. I'm glad I don't buy it.
Yes, exactly. Those are tax-free.
Wow.
Right? So we know Belizeans can't go without their ham for Christmas. Some of us like our imported turkey. Local turkey and locally produced ham are already exempt from taxes. So it's the imported ones now that are tax-free. So you can go out any day now for the entire month of December, even after Christmas up to the 31st, you'll still be able to buy your ham and turkey tax-free.
Let me ask something, because I think what we're talking a lot about here is grocery items. But if I go into a store that sells like Christmas ornaments, for example, I need my Christmas lights, I need to decorate my Christmas tree, I see this nice placement, table placement that I need.
Everything.
All of that are covered as well.
Those are covered as well.
Yeah. So that is why in the guidance,
it's all retail goods. Other than those that are
goods.
exempt.
Okay, good.
Yes.
We have to get that clear.
Go buy
At a cash
You go
sale,
buy your curtain.
at a final sale.
Yeah. So I use in our guidance note, we use an example of a TV because we know around this time people want to buy a new TV, right?
Should have been wait.
and that's why I'm saying we put it in there as an example so that people realize it's not only groceries, but it's any household item. You could go buy a sofa set, as you said, a center table, a dining set, anything that attracts GST will be tax-free once you go in and purchase cash. So you can't go to courts that offers
a plan.
Right.
That will not be tax-free. But if you go to courts and you purchase this cash, you will get it GST free.
Wow. Is this the first time something like this is being done, like your recollection, or?
Well, certainly under this administration, it's the first time we're having an initiative like this. But I think that in the past there were some types of relief offered for GST. I can't really recall, but what I like about this is that it's really reaching and benefiting those that are, those that really want it or need it the most. And I think that is important, and that's why I went through those policy initiatives when we spoke about increasing the threshold. Those are targeting persons at a certain salary scale. There was a lot of criticism saying, well, we should have taken up the non-taxable income, that bracket. But then even somebody making $100,000 would then benefit if you took up the non-taxable income. We want to benefit those that need the initiatives, the benefits the most. Similarly with mortgages of $100,000 and less, that will cover quite a bit of Belizean borrowers. But it's important that, let's say you're borrowing $1 million to build a condominium. No, we think you should still pay this stamp duty. You can afford to pay the stamp duty. These initiatives are for persons that really need it the most. Again, This is for those who will be paid this week, will be doing their Christmas shopping on the weekend and on the weekend right before Christmas.
So as we are wrapping up, I just really want for you all to reiterate what are the line items that will not be covered under this these two tax-free weekends.
And anything else that you may have missed that we need to add.
So again, not eligible are the goods imported that you pay GST at customs. You will pay your GST at customs for that. Goods on consignment, the supply of goods on credit installment and hire purchase. Orders of goods that are not in stock, that you order something and it's not there, those are not eligible. The supply of motor vehicles, gasoline, LPG, diesel, guns, ammunition, cigarettes, and alcoholic beverages, those are not eligible. Services, I forgot to mention, services are not eligible. And sad to say, top-up is considered a service that is not eligible for these GST-free days.
Yeah. What really, when you look at it from a different perspective, just to add this as we end, what you're really doing, getting for those 2 weekends, or at least for this 1 weekend, since it's a pay week, is you're getting a little increase in your pay. If you look at it, because it's a 12.5% increase in your pay, because where you would have spent that 12.5% on taxes, if you do the grocery shopping, etc., now you don't have to spend that 12.5%, you could hold it, so it really adds value to what you're getting paid.
So yeah, it's supply side fiscal relief. That's what it is.
That's a technical term.
No,
right? I don't have that in me.
But really, it's increasing the purchasing power of the Belizean consumer by giving them a 12.5% discount on whatever retail items they're buying, other than exempted items, of course.
So as we are saying thank you so much for this Christmas present brought to you by the government of Belize. Remember, folks, that the tax-free weekend begins this weekend, the 14th and the 15th, and then the 21st and the 22nd. So get your groceries in then. I believe that this ad will also be running on right here on Channel 5 during commercial breaks, as well as on the Facebook pages of the government of Belize.
Yes.
So if you want more information on that, you can check us out here or on the government Facebook pages. But thank you all so much for dropping by and giving us this wonderful news.
If I could just, I think the segment that you had before, it's important for me to say that, to express my condolences to the family of the victims in that horrific car accident. I was telling the Director General that I happened to be in Cayo yesterday, and there was put together a quick vigil done for the victims, and it was very sad to see the family members out there. But certainly at this time of year, we are having even more accidents. I got some data from the police department that it seems that accidents spike at every holiday time, Christmas, January, Easter, even the summer break, September time. So we're just asking the motorists to be careful, to respect the rules of the road, to abide by the laws of the road, and certainly to not include any type of alcoholic beverages when you're drinking, or even to be distracted, being on your phone, these different initiatives. So just wanted to express my condolences for that.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Minister.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, a new inclusive chapter with the Belize Disability Act. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ready. In Your Kitchen, Belize Edition is bringing you simple, healthy, delicious meals made just for you. Join Chef Ainsley and our team of nutritionists as they show you how to turn local favorites into nutritious, tasty dishes. Plus, discover the amazing health benefits of everyday foods right from your kitchen. Join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on Channel 5 for healthier cooking that's easy and fun. Brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, with support from Taiwan ICDF, making healthy cooking a Belizean tradition.
My name name is Hermine Vega. El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain, the noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know, because it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said it's his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
It's Christmas time at Channel 5, bringing joy to Belize. From the news desk to the great outdoors, we've been working to give you more. From morning shows to breaking news, serving the truth is what we choose. Oh, Channel 5, we're on your side. Through every storm, we're your guide. With laugh, debates, and moments true, we share Belizean life with you. So raise your voices, Christmas cheer. We've got big plans for the coming year. Together we thrive, here's to Channel 5. Let's keep the magic of hope alive. We've got goals that shine so bright, like a Christmas star on a silent night. More content, stories, and tech upgrades. Oh, Channel 5, we're here to stay.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. This is our Second conversation for this morning, and we have joining us on set Miss Christy Almeida, and she's a special education. She's from the special education unit over at the Ministry of Education, as well as Mr. Marshall Nunes, and he's the disabilities desk coordinator at the Women's and Family Service. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, no discount for us sitting here.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about what we're here to discuss, which is the enactment of this groundbreaking revolutionary act. Ms. Christie, if you could start with your initial reaction to this being signed into law by the Governor General last week. How did that make you feel?
It was surreal and pretty amazing. I mean, for us to have gotten so far in, I know for persons with disability it's a really long time, but for us it was 3 years of work since Mr. Marshall initiated the disability conference. And so to watch the hard work and what we wanted be just signed in, it was an emotional moment for me, I'll be honest, it was.
And for you, Mr. Nunes, what was your initial reactions and thoughts?
Paul, it was the Governor General ascending to the legislation on World Disability Day. So that for me, and I don't know that you could have gotten a better day. And so it's really and truly exciting for me and for us.
How does this now change our landscape in terms of how we interact, how we facilitate, just how we live and coexist, if that's the word?
I would have to say that it's a changing landscape. So it's not going to just change it, but it's going to be changing. I think access and universal access is paramount. The buy-in, though, has to come from the rest of the community. Within the legislation, it speaks about universal access, and we always say that universal access doesn't mean that you're making any special accommodation for people with disability, because everybody can use the universal access. And when we speak about access, we're not only talking about physical infrastructure, but we're looking at technology. We're looking at every aspect of access that people have.
How do we ensure that this is not one of or another law that is passed and it sits on the books, and then 50 years from now we're talking, oh, you know, in 2024 we did enact something like that, but we never really follow through with it?
Yeah, I feel that strongly. I know I was in a meeting with Justice Moore, and she said, you know, we've had this law and this law, and nothing had come to the courts on that. And we've had the Ministry of Human Development, Families and Indigenous Peoples Affairs organized disability sort of implementation task force now, involving a lot of the ministries and CSOs to talk about how we do this. What's our plan to make sure it's implemented? And that's great, but we had our FAQs with Autism Belize on the same Tuesday, and so I announced it to a lot of families, and I said, it's on us. It's on, I'm not going to sit around and wait just for government to do something. It has to be on us to continuously put the pressure and say, hold on. In healthcare, it says that we should have equitable access to healthcare. It says that we can't be discriminated against because of a disability, that we should be eligible for health insurance. So we have to keep asking. We can't expect the change to happen overnight, but we have to keep a constant pressure to make sure that these things are happening and that persons with disabilities have the same rights as you and I, the access to healthcare, to education, to employment, to protection, the social protection thing. And for me, as I will advocate to my families in Autism Belize, it's on us to make sure that something continues to happen and that we see the implementation.
I can definitely feel the emotion and the excitement from you, Christy, and from you, Mr. Marshall.
You know what, I add to what Christy said, I want to say that you know that there are several bills that are on the table long before the disability legislation came. But you know why we're here? Because we have drivers. we have drivers, we have people who want to ensure that this works. And that is a response to your question, Paul, that next year we will be able to boast on some of the benefits that have derived from the passage of this legislation. We will not just sit down and allow that to just lie on the shelf, as you rightfully said. This will work.
Yes.
So what does this? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say that it's. I can see how you all are pushing for this and making sure that it gets through and that your people are able to, push certain factors and push avenues and hold other Belizeans accountable, right? But how is this supposed to change the mindset and the culture of persons that are not in your shoes, that are not just part of the political field, but have families that have persons with different abilities and so forth. Majority of the resources and the spaces are built by persons that can't relate to you. So how do you change an entire culture?
And that's why we're here. Personally, I am a person who is living with a disability and who feels it knows it.
Right.
And so I will be advocating, I will be leading the process of advocacy for the community of people with disability. And we won't just sit by. We won't just sit by. In the past, and without any kind of legislation that will bring force to bear, we just had to take it as it go. And that's the reason why I think it was so important for us to go to legislation. Let me tell you, initially when I came in March of 2021, we were talking about policies. But policies can take the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And so we felt that it's the road to successfully incorporating people with disabilities into the regular society are twofold: advocacy and legislation. We have been advocating, and now we fought for the legislation to be put in place. It's there now. And so we have backative. We have the legislation. The legislation will criminalize discrimination, and it's going to criminalize certain acts or inactions that are going to take place or don't take place. And so that is the kind of strength and leverage that we need.
And I think you phrased it properly when you use the word criminalization. It's a strong word to use, and a lot of people perhaps don't want to hear us use that term. Oh, well, this is criminal now, or that becomes criminal, but it's a form of protection, right? It really is a form of protection that was first not in place, and now it is in place, and that empowers people.
And that's a big part of the change, right? If we don't have that, then we're reliant on people being kind, or people, and I'm not saying that's not important, but that puts a Band-Aid over it, and that makes us dependent on others. Indeed. This time around, it's, listen, we're the same as you. We deserve to have this access. We deserve to have the ability to have a job, to get transportation, to get to that job. You're not doing anyone a favor. This is the right, everyone. April, you have this right. This is a right to, being a part of a community, holding employment, owning a house. All of these things are basic human rights that because of a disability, there were barriers to that. And now, I'm not asking for favors. I'm not asking you to be nice. I'm asking for the right.
So what does it mean for employment?
There should not be discrimination against employment. If you are an employer, someone with a disability, you are expected to make that accommodation. So that might mean that you might have to put in certain things at the office, or maybe get a special desk for that person. There are also benefits for employers, tax incentives and breaks that an employer can have if they are hiring persons with disabilities. So there are the benefits of it there as well.
The Belize as a state is a signatory to the UN Convention. And I think it's Article 31 of the convention speaks to reasonable accommodation for persons with disabilities. And so reasonable accommodation is right across the legislation. I think, and we are talking about criminalizing, we are hoping that nobody have to be charged criminally. We are hoping that the rest of the community will come on board. I think a powerful message to say to the people right now is that when you look at persons with disabilities, you have to look at them as human beings who have the same inalienable right as everybody else. But I want to say to them that even, like to me, I lost my sight 10 years ago. Wow. But I was quite normal all along. It's just one illness, one incident, one accident away from you acquiring a disability. So you have to be sensitive to people with disabilities.
I really like that you brought that up, because a lot of the times when we think about persons with different abilities, we feel that this is something they're born with, and therefore, you know, they have to be the ones to maneuver through life, right? And bringing up this incident of this is not something that just happened to you. This is something that, you know, your life has now drastically changed because of this incident. And you're absolutely right. Somebody can become paralyzed because of an accident. You need wheelchair access to get to certain spaces. You need to be able to get from point A to point B through transportation. So with that said, then, when it comes to public transportation and being able to access public spaces, how does this bill now enforce these things?
This is a very progressive piece of legislation, right? Coming out of this legislation will be regulations. The legislation set forth the establishment of a National Disability Commission. The commission will be so empowered to make recommendations to other ministries for them to amend their legislations. In the transportation, the Ministry of Transport will have to create regulations that will make it accommodating for persons with disability. Priority seating, priority boarding, priority onboarding, priority price, if you will. But those regulations will come from those ministries. But the commission will be so empowered to make those recommendations to the ministry.
Yeah, I think the day and age has long passed when we look down on persons living with disabilities, when we look at them as outcasts or as strange, and it's very progressive to know or to see that we have a government and we have people pushing for legislation that really places persons living with disabilities at the fore of everything that we do in society.
Sorry for interrupting, but I'm glad that you said a government. I would be remiss if I would come here and not big up Minister Dolores Valderramos Garcia. I think the minister, who is my minister, coincidentally, but the Honorable Dolores have sponsored the most human rights domestic legislation in this country. I'm over 50, and that's for the years that I'm alive. I don't think that anybody has sponsored more domestic human rights legislation than Honorable Dolores. And I really, when I came to the ministry and we started to talk about legislation in November 2021, I felt encouraged because I know that with the minister behind me, we are going to get this. And this is done in record time.
Ms. Christie, final question for me on your part. What does this mean now in brief for education? What can we look there?
The bill speaks with education about having access to education, providing accommodations, which could mean a reader. For example, if someone's dyslexic, if you need to take a test, that the school now has to provide someone to read that test to you. A scribe, looking at accessible tools and services, providing that sort of resources. So it speaks broadly to these things to make sure that these children will have the best opportunities to be able to succeed in the school. As the Ministry of Education, we recognize that that's very broad, and we need to make sure that we're very explicit with what we will need to provide and what schools will have to provide. So starting in January, we're going to be doing more consultations across this country to have a special education and inclusive education policy because of this legislation now. We have to have this. That would have to be accepted as a part of our thing. So we start in January with those consultations. We actually have been working for the past 3 years with the Caribbean Development Bank, and they have an inclusive and special education policy framework and strategy that was accepted by CARICOM the end of October. So we're using that as a guideline with the strength of having this legislation now behind us to make sure that in 2025 we actually have something in writing that speaks to exactly what sort of accommodations, resources and stuff that schools that we have to provide, and that the supports that people need.
As we wrap up now, just for the both of you, I'd like for you to give perhaps one liner or one key thing that our Belizean public should be aware of when it comes to this bill.
My thing is that this bill is established to protect the dignity and the rights of persons with disability, respect our dignity and respect our rights.
Wonderful. Christy?
I'm going to speak to the business owners because one of the lines in there speaks to accessibility and saying that once the legislation is signed, that there's 12 months for buildings to become more accessible. So it's a very practical thing. But what I would encourage business owners, those that work in the health industry, hospitals, insurance companies, take a look at the bill. There's going to be implications for you, things that you all will have to start to work towards and think about and budget for. And so don't just think, oh yeah, this is really good and move on. If you own a business, if you work in the health industry, if you are one of these in the community, take a look at the bill because there are specific things that might affect your place of work or how you do and conduct your work. And so it is really important for you to take a look at this legislation.
Wonderful. Mr. Marshall, Christy, thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on this wonderful success. And I hope that our Belizeans also take it all into consideration and how it affects us and the rest of our society. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
With that, we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, the Belize Youth Movement is charting a path towards equality and justice. You don't want to miss that conversation. We'll be right back.
With the Labor Department takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSD, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connections. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
For 15 years, Oceana Belize has proudly stood alongside the people of Belize, protecting our marine habitats, safeguarding livelihoods, and ensuring that the beauty of our Caribbean Sea endures for future generations. Together, we've achieved incredible victories, safeguarding habitat from the inherently dangerous and destructive offshore oil development to increasing the use of selective fishing gear to reduce overfishing, advocating for a sustainable future for all Belizeans.
We want to always be able to fish. Oceana listened to us and made sure our voices were heard by the decision makers.
Being a wave maker has shown me the power we have when we come together for something bigger than ourselves.
I am proud to be part of a team of dedicated Belizeans who wholeheartedly believe in the people of Belize and the right to a healthy, thriving ocean.
But our work is far from done. So many challenges confront the Caribbean Sea, from the existential threat of climate change to insidious illegal fishing. Together, we will continue fighting to protect the people, Alawi, who depend on the beauty and bounty of our waters. With your support, we look forward to the next 15 years, committed to empowering communities, safeguarding marine ecosystems, and creating a future where both people and special places thrive. We're proud to stand with you for our Belize, land of the free by the Caribbean Sea.
It's Christmas time at Channel 5, bringing joy to Belize. From the news desk to the great outdoors, we've been working to give you more. From morning shows to breaking news, serving the truth is what we choose. Oh, Channel 5, I'm on your side. Through every storm, we're your guide. With laugh, debates, and moments true, we share Belizean life with you. So raise your voice, it's Christmas cheer. We've got big plans for the coming year. Together we thrive, here's to Channel 5. Let's keep the magic of hope alive. We've got goals that shine so bright, like a Christmas star on a silent night. More content, stories, and tech upgrades. Oh, Channel 5, we're here to stay.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. Joining us for our third segment, we have folks from the Belize Youth Movement here to talk to us about their conference in Venezuela. Joining us, we have Ms. Marisa Cervantes, she's sitting right there in the middle. She is the national president of the Belize Youth Movement. Good morning. Next to her, we have Matthew Romero, who is a Belize City chapter member, and Benjamin Garcia, who is the content creator of the Belize Youth Movement. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So we kind of started having a chit chat before we came up about this Congress that you all went to in Caracas, Venezuela, and it was the anti-fascist Congress for youths and students.
Right.
I got that correct.
We saw the participation of over 1,000 young people from around the world, from more than 70 countries. So we're talking about Africa, we're talking about our very own backyard, the Caribbean region. We're talking about places like Armenia, places like, for example, Serbia, the USA, Canada. So it was just so many young people with different backgrounds, people in journalism, people as youth leaders, for instance, and of course people who are, just back home trying to fight a cause. And the cause is, one of equality, one where you are, of course, anti-colonialism, and all these similar expressions, trying to find a way as young people, how can we come together for a new world?
How did you all manage to get Belize to be a delegation in this Congress in the first place? Let's start there.
I think the Belize Youth Movement has been very proactive in trying to, one, recruit membership and trying to build an international presence, right? I think where we advocate for young people to be able to go outside of Belize, you know, go outside of their neighborhood and discover something new. See what you can find. Use these experiences, these cultural experiences as case studies to see what you can bring back home for the benefit of your country and your community. And we have been in communication with the Venezuelan embassy, who's been very supportive of our cause, and we've also created amazing close ties with their youth arm in Venezuela. And because of that relationship that we share, we've strengthened that relationship, and now, you know, we are able to travel to Venezuela, to be in the capital in Caracas, to see how politics is carried out in their country. For instance, my friend, my colleague who does exactly the same as I, which is steer the youth arm in their party, is now a minister. So imagine a young person being a minister responsible for youth. Very, very progressive. These young people, I mean, you're talking about vice ministers. You're talking about spaces created for young people to be able to be at the decision-making table and to actually carry out community plans.
No.
And I think that's amazing.
Mr. Romero, I want to step back a little bit with you. Just though I don't want to take for granted the fact that our viewers may not understand all of these terms.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Especially when it comes to anti-fascist and fascism. What are we talking about?
Well, you know, ideally, what they're referring to when we talk about anti-fascist, anti-Zionism, all of these expressions, my understanding of it is at its core, it's about equality. It's about, you know, everybody having equal access to things that they're already entitled to, right? And it differs depending on what you're talking about. But at its very core, these are some of the values that we're talking about here today.
Yeah, and let me just add as well to this, Paul. I think that it was a very important Congress for us to attend, because the entire thing was planned out and executed by people around our same age. So that is very impressive to see what the youth in Venezuela are doing, being led by their very own minister, who started as well as a youth president, like our colleague here, Marissa. So when we got there, you know, we got greeted by the guys at the airport. They made sure that we were taken care of from the moment we left Belize to when we got to Venezuela, to checking into our hotels and you know, meals being provided and everything being organized every single day with different activities, so that we can see what is really being done in Venezuela and the work that the youth are putting in. So in me, it created a sense of hope, and it also is a very promising movement for the world, because at the end of the day, you know, with Belize being a very young nation, we recently got our independence, you know, so 1981 to now. So there's a lot of work to be done, and if you look at the age range that we have in Belize, most people are under 35 years old, and that's quite young. So for us to see that, you know, exchanging ideas, and you might not agree, and we can all agree that, you know, not everyone agrees with everything that happens around the world, but we have a common cause, and it's the fact that we want to push our country forward. So this helped us to meet a lot of people from all over the world. So I made friends from Venezuela, so kudos to our hosts. You know, everybody got hosts. So we were given, they call them attachés, so the attachments to you. So we had Alanis and Cami, who took care of us the entire time and made sure that we were taken care of in Venezuela. And let me just say that it wasn't all, you know, formality. You know, we're youth, so at the end of the day, we also enjoyed the nightlife in Venezuela. We went out and we really saw what it's all about.
I really want to get into the content of this, because I'm imagining that, yes, I know that Ono had fun, and yeah, Venezuela, Caracas is great, but when it comes to the reason that you all were there, and you're saying there are over 70 countries in there, you were having various meetings in the span of 2 weeks. Let's talk about some of the problematic areas and themes that you all were tackling, and did you find solution-based conversations that you think would be able to implement in Belize? How was this bilateral exchange in strengthening our diplomacies in not just Venezuela, but all of these other countries?
Well, I think we have to look at the opportunities being offered by Venezuela itself. At present, we have 6 Belizeans studying there and full scholarships, and expect in the next 6 to 7 years we're going to have doctors, right? Because you have to serve 1 year for the country. But I think this is just the start of something bigger, you know, and I think we also have, as young people, we have to go in there with an objective to make an alliance, right, with other individuals from around the world. At present, I'm a part of a group called the Caribbean Freedom Collective, where it's essentially members from the Caribbean region in solidarity with Palestine. So we're trying to, you know, figure out how best we can campaign in solidarity with Palestine, and by doing so we're already drafting something to CARICOM, when what we're saying is essentially all the countries in the CARICOM must end ties, diplomatic ties with Israel. That is one of the things that we are going to have in the draft. But essentially, I think it's about taking the good out of the experience, bring it back home. What can we do in Belize? If Ben is saying that we have more than 50% of our young people being living here in Belize, and we are a young country, I think we should have more spaces for young people. I mean, it's long overdue that we need a youth senator. We see the presence of vice ministers in Venezuela. Why can we not adopt that? Why can we not have young people shadowing ministers and rotating them? That's how you gain the experience. We often say young people are the future and what's not, but we have to be very practical and we have to see it in action. Why don't we have a Ministry of Youth that is run by young people for young people, right? And these are some of the things that we desperately, as young people, deserve. And this is, I think this is something very progressive. This is just BYM. We did this on our own, you know, and of course with the support of the Venezuelan ambassador. Kudos to him, because he believes, I mean, they come from a country where they've paid a price for freedom. You know, and sometimes when you pay a price, you can actually understand the worth of certain values, and I think we need some more of that.
I appreciate with how much passion you speak on these issues. For you, Mr. Romero, what were perhaps 1 or 2 key takeaways from this event, and how does it broaden your understanding and perhaps builds on the work and the efforts that you're already doing here in Belize?
Okay, well, you know, thanks for that question. My 2 biggest takeaways, and I was actually just telling them earlier this morning. First and foremost, if you're going to stand up for a cause, ensure that you understand exactly what you're standing up for. And if it's something that aligns with your values, then you need to go all the way. Because it might not be easy. Most likely it's going to be difficult, but it's worthwhile, right? And we see that in the spirit of the people in Venezuela. We see that in the spirit of people that we met, you know, our colleagues that we met in Venezuela. And it's reassuring to see that, you know, there's people that has, you know, they have causes that they believe in, and they're going full steam ahead, right? My second biggest takeaway, other than, so being in Venezuela, you know, yes, there are 2 days of us being in a conference, a sit-down conference, thematic tables and so on. But first day that we got there, I think it was, we went to a comuna. In Venezuela, they have about 5,000 comunas whereby people, you know, they live. So they have these apartment buildings that they live in. Then the communities themselves organize these public goods. So they have laundromats, they have businesses that are run by the community. In fact, the community that we went to has a school whereby they have education levels from primary to university level, all in the same compound.
Wow.
Right? So most impressive is that the government, the Venezuelan government, allows the community to run themselves. Right? So the money stays in the community. The people, you know, and the people that live in the communas wholeheartedly believe in the system that they have. And I bring up the communas because my background, I mean, I'm a businessman. I do housing, I do real estate. And they have these big apartment buildings in Venezuela because in Caracas it's overcrowded.
Yeah.
In Belize we have more land than, most times we have more land than we know what to do.
Yeah.
We have land, like they say, for throw out a cat and dog, right? And my biggest takeaway, being in the industry I work in, accessible housing is more than possible in Belize, right? So I'm motivated to bring some of the things that I saw. They're not necessarily duplicated in its entirety, but to say, look, if the Venezuelan people could do this, so can we.
Now,
You know?
I want to bring Benjamin back into the conversation finally, because you went there as a content creator.
That is right.
But I would imagine you also left impacted by it. So I want to talk a bit about how this empowers you now moving forward with the movement.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was actually a reminder of how powerful social media really is and the way social media is used to shape ideologies and perspectives on things. So, before getting to Venezuela, I did my research when I received the invitation on behalf of the Belize Youth Movement to go with the delegation. I was a bit skeptical because of everything that is said on social media. And let me tell you, and I can boldly say that it's not true. It's not what you see on social media. You need to visit it. You need to go there. You need to get the real Venezuelan experience. And you also need to, like Matthew rightfully said, with the comunas, for example, go and see what it is that they're doing with their youth from they're small to build them to be the type of people they are in Venezuela. Why are they so patriotic? The civic pride those people have is huge. And the reason why is because all of this is taught in school from they're young. So that's actually one of the things I would love to apply in Belize, and maybe even the Ministry of Education can look into something, added to the curriculums in different schools. How do you teach a child civic pride? How do you teach them patriotism? It doesn't only mean telling them, not to litter, or you need to sing your national anthem, you need to go parade for 21st. There's a lot more to it, and we're a very young nation, so that's one of the things that I really, it impacted me a lot. And of course, again, the reminder of how impactful social media is, and the fact that you can use your very own platforms to, teach the world about all these things. And let me just say this, a lot of people have the idea that you can only be an influencer if you have thousands and thousands of followers. You can influence your brothers, your sisters, your auntie, your cousin. You could have dinner and have a very nice chat with them and educate them. As long as you influence someone's perspective or decision making or what they think about something, you're an influencer already. Maybe not a social media influencer, but you can do your part, to influence that. So I think in Belize, that's something that we should adapt. The comunas was a wonderful experience, seeing the kids. Actually, we have our colleague, Kevin Mendes from Over Channel 7, who that went with us as well as a journalist. And we got to a school, and without we even realizing, Kevin was snatched away from the group. Next thing we know, the kids from the school, they give Kevin a tour.
Wow.
So that's completely unplanned. Those kids were just there for a regular school day, and they saw us there, so then they ended up giving us a tour of the entire place. So, that just shows how prideful they are in what they're doing, in Venezuela, and that's something that Belizeans need to learn.
I'm very, very happy to hear that you all had a great experience. I hope that perhaps there is a space that more Belizeans can hear about this experience. I believe that there's a lot more that you need to tell us. 10 minutes, 15 minutes is not a lot of time.
Absolutely. And let me just add, April, before you continue. So we will continue sharing more about this experience. I know the segment, might not serve, long enough for us to fully talk about it, but we do have our social media platform. So we invite everyone to follow the Belize Youth Movement on Facebook and on Instagram. We're going to be uploading content really soon.
Nice.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning, and congratulations on the successful trip. And from one youth group to another youthful queen of the Bay who is trying to take initiative in her community. After this commercial break, we're going to have Queen of the Bay, Diana Lang, to talk to us about her Christmas charity this season. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Langsert, and I'm a teacher, and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer. With these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
My name is Kenneth Chiak. I'm in Standard 6 and I'm attending United Evergreen Primary School. Thank you, BEL. This is actually the very first time I decided to try something out. Feels good, really good. I'm cruising down the road with wind rushing through my hair, my favorite song playing on the radio. But suddenly, I hear a loud honk and screeching tires. I look up and see a car swerving into my lane. In that moment, everything changes. I can't return to an hour before and reset time. If only I had followed the little slogan a mile back, eyes on the road, mind on the drive, drive safely to arrive alive, I wouldn't have been here.
I think engaging students in this competition is a great initiative because it gets them to start thinking about safety. It helps them in the critical thinking, and these students are the same students who are going to be our engineers, doctors, specialists. We're most grateful to BEL for the prize money that was won by our student Kenrick Chiak in the competition. That money has been put to good use to buy 10 projectors that we're going to use in the classroom to enhance teaching and learning.
It's Christmas time, Channel 5, bringing joy to Belize. From the news desk to the great outdoors, we've been working to give you more. From morning shows to breaking news, serving the truth is what we choose. Oh, Channel 5, we're on your side. Through every storm, we're your guide. With laugh, debates, and moments true, we share Belize in life with you. So raise your voices, Christmas cheer. We've got big plans for the coming year. Together we thrive, here's to Channel 5. Let's keep the magic of hope alive. We've got goals that shine so bright, like a Christmas star on a silent night. More content, stories to stay.
Welcome back. We are joined by our fourth and final segment. This is Queen of the Bay, Deanne Ling. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, you are here to talk to us about A Royal Cause for a Strong Belize. That is the name of your charity for this Christmas season.
Oh, that's nice. That's kind of like news to me.
Tell us about how it's been going in terms of your community outreach and what you have in store for us this Christmas season.
So for this Christmas season, I am doing a community Christmas cheer in my village, Western Paradise. Most people know it as 8 Miles, but 8 Miles have a name. It's Western Paradise Village.
Nice.
You never know. Yeah, so I really wanted to show my appreciation to my community. Ever since I won Queen of the Bay, it was in my mind, how can I give back? How can I say thank you? How can I show that appreciation? And, the light bulb went on, and I just said, let's do a Christmas give back. And so my sister and I, we planned it, and we, figured out, okay, we're going to do a gift giving. So it's not really a Christmas party. Weekends are very valuable around the Christmas season. So we said, okay, let's do a quick walk-in kind of event where they come, they get their gift, they get a little goodie bag, and then they get to meet me, take some pictures. And I believe the Saturday is the Christmas parade, so they don't have to be held back from enjoying the rest of their evening with their families.
So who are we giving gifts to, and what are we looking at in terms of the types of gifts that we plan to give?
Okay, so the age range is from 3 to 12, so you're looking at preschool, primary school students.
Preteens.
Preteens. And the gifts, they are generously donated by former queens from the Queen of the Bay, and they are separated by, like, if you're a boy, girl, and your age range. So when you reach, it would be very easy when you give your age. Of course, we're looking forward to parents coming with their children, give their age, and then they would get the gift and move along with it.
I really like that you mentioned that the past queens or the other delegates that are a part of your reign are giving back. So it's not just the Queen of the Bay, Deanne, but it seems like you have implemented the rest of the Queen of the Bay community to assist you.
Yes, a unique thing about the Queen of the Bay is that once you have completed your 1-year reign, you are automatically included in an association of former queens. So whenever there is any need of any, actual physical support or moral support, you always have the other queens who are still with us there to help you. And so
you have your list.
Oh, you have your list. Sure, go ahead.
So I just have to quickly go through this. So I have to say thank you to Queen Wida Smith, Queen Lynette Daniels, Queen Vanessa Jenkins, Queen Diana Jenkins, Queen Natalie Perez, Queen Fallon Kane, Queen Rena Usher, Queen Stephanie Young, and Queen Yadira Argueta, and Miss Villanueva, Mrs. Jenny Lee Francisco, Mrs. Shana Ciego, Chelsea Evelyn, Alicia Pallard, and Nias Talia.
Wow.
Excellent.
So aside from former queens, I do have some really close friends and family who do.
I must say that you are looking as glam and as vibrant as ever. And I don't know if it's the Christmas season that's bringing out that joy in you, but what does it mean for you, or what does it do for you when you give back?
Honestly, it means everything to me when I give back. I feel like, before becoming queen, I try to find innovative ways of giving back, whether it's through my business or through, collaborating with other individuals or working along with organizations. I felt that, in order to see any kind of positive change in my country, I have to be of service. And that kind of was one of the main reasons I got into Queen of the Bay, because you hear Queen of the Bay is not a beauty pageant, it's about service. So I really wanted to capitalize on this 1-year reign and just give it my all, I really enjoy giving back and seeing the impact, the wonderful impact that it has. And it brings so much joy.
It's only been what, 3 months, 4 months, right? Yeah. So you have 3/4 of a year left to go.
Yes.
So I would imagine there's a lot more giving and a lot more activities to come.
I told myself and I told my family, I wanted to kind of break that stigma that, I've heard a lot that when you're a Queen of the Bay, you get crowned, you busy September, and that's it. We don't know who they are. Yeah. So I created my own calendar of activities, and I sent it to my directors. I said, this is the ideas that I have.
Nice.
You just give me the yay or the yay, because either way, I'm going to make sure that I am of service. And, they were all for it. So coming into the new year, I have so many wonderful things that I would like to do, and I just really would like, for people, organizations, NGOs, ministries, whoever it is, to be very open to collaboration. I mean, pageantry, you might think that you have everything at your disposal, which is not really the case. You have to really work hard in creating those networks, and I'm very open to doing that. I mean, I came into Queen of the Bay with some networks, hence I'm very active. So I want to go into the new year with that mentality. And people always ask me, how do I balance work and Queen of the Bay? Because I always visit both of them, honestly, the grace of God, and a lot of personal time off. But I'm just hoping that that's the kind of openness that I will be able to work with next year.
And it's a fact for me, Diane, just to add this, that you are a youth, a young person that is investing so much of your time in positive development, not only personally, but in developing the community around you and those around you. I think that should be treasured. The way you're using your youthfulness and you're using all this energy, because as you get older, the energy starts go right, and so to be using it in this manner. How many kids are we catering for?
So we are catering for 100. I've heard that we're gonna have a little bit more than 100.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that families, friends, whoever, if you're living in Western Paradise or 8 miles, even in Western Pines, because interestingly, Western Paradise is as you cross the 6 miles bridge until mile 12, so it spans a really long distance. So if you're from Western Pines or even Sunset, just bring your children, bring your child, and have a really good time. Like I said, it's not to take away from your weekend plans. You just come, get your gift, get your goodies, meet me, share some words.
Where and I know you said it's this weekend, but what time?
Okay, so it's from 2 to 4 p.m. So it's in the afternoon. It's gonna be at the community center. If you don't know where that is, in mile 8, there's one little police booth in an open area with a white bungalow building. That's the community center. And like I said, it's for children ages 3 to 12. Maybe if you're 13, you could still come. But,
you still believe in a Santa?
No.
Yeah, but
this is a wonderful initiative, and it definitely speaks to your advocacy, which is youth empowerment, right? There's many kids out there that perhaps they might not wake up Christmas morning to a present.
Exactly.
And so this is a wonderful initiative by you, and of course your fellow collaborators that are able to bring the gift of giving during this season. So wonderful. Any final words before we close off our segment this morning?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone who is always following my journey. I want to say thank you to my village for supporting me. I'm kind of like a house mouse, so this is an opportunity to really get out. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all this Saturday. And like I mentioned, hopefully in the new year, I get to collaborate more to really expand my advocacy and to really, set the pace for any queen coming up in the future as well.
Quickly, before we wrap up, is there any space for other persons to still give you gifts and so forth to provide to the community?
Yes, if you would like to donate, I love that you brought that up. If you would still like to donate any gifts or goodies like candies or stuff like that, you can reach out to the National Queen of the Bay or even the Miss Belize Rural Committee. Like I said, if we have more and the event is over, we're gonna go out into the community or other rural communities to give some gifts. So, the more the merrier. We're gonna spread the Christmas cheer.
We are going to spread the Christmas cheer. Diana, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure as always to have you on set.
Yeah, and charity really does start at home.
It really does start at home. I'm very, very proud of this initiative, and I'm hoping that we get to hear about more initiatives like this within the Christmas season, Paul.
Yeah.
But we do gotta go.
Yeah.
And we got to say not just thank you to you, Diana, but thank you to all of our guests for coming by this morning and having that conversation with us here on Open Your Eyes. We'd also like to say a big thank you to you, our viewers, because without you, this would not be possible. It is December 9th.
It would be remiss of us to not say or bring to the fore the fact that, you know, and just because you said December 9th,
I was about to say, and thank you so much.
Today is actually our anniversary.
It is.
It's a
happy
Channel 5
anniversary to Great Belize Production.
Yeah, so we are celebrating 33 years today. And you know what, I still not sure how we not got cake pan set yet, or how we not got what champagne in the pop, but certainly we'll be celebrating throughout today.
Yes.
So you're going to see all the celebrations on our social media pages. You're going to see the celebrations everywhere.
We were already seeing it earlier from last week, but
so yes, happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday to us here at Channel 5, and thank you to our viewers for being loyal, for staying with us for the past 33 years, bringing you wonderful content and Belizean lives into your home. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or a comment, you can drop us a line right here at oye@channel5belize.com.
And you can also catch us live on Facebook every single weekday morning at Open Your Eyes BZ.
And check out our highlights on Instagram at OYE And of course, do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes.
And start the morning right.
Be sure to keep your eyes, your minds,
and of course your hearts wide open.
We'll see you soon, Belize. Have a wonderful, have a safe rest of your day. Bye. Good week.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.